Week, people saw them as the perfect wealthy power couple, but those close to them knew that image was dead wrong.
If I looked at him, I knew I was looking at evil.
Don't miss Deadly Obsession on a new episode of Crime Files, Tuesday at 7:30 on News 12 New York.
Ford SUVs have the cargo space, connectivity, and capability to make the everyday anything but routine. Right now, returning lessees can get the Built Wild Bronco Sport for $289 a month, only at your local Ford stores.
Tomorrow on FS1, the ALCS continues. Jose Altuve and the Astros look to fight their way back into the series, while the Rangers aim to take a commanding lead. The ALCS Game 3, tomorrow on FS1.
Let's go, baby! Should be electric today. The crowd, the atmosphere, this is what makes it special. Here we go. This is what we do.
Live from Columbus, it's Big Noon Kickoff on Fox.
It's the most anticipated matchup of the season. Big Noon Saturday on Fox. Third-ranked Ohio State hosts seventh-ranked Penn State. Two powerhouses collide. It's Big Noon Saturday on Fox.
Only one question leads to life-changing money.
Is it real or is it snake oil?
Sniff out the scam and find the real product.
This show's crazy.
All new Snake Oil, Wednesdays on Fox, and watch anytime on Hulu.
The Masked Singer kicked off with an incredible reveal.
I am so starstruck right now.
And there's still so much in store.
We've never seen that.
The Masked Singer, all new Wednesdays on Fox and watch anytime on Hulu.
And we'll continue to follow this story for you.
Nobody has what we have.
On the next episode of Ready for Work, our job seekers work with their career experts in order to craft the ideal resume.
The resume is the bridge to the job.
And discover that creating the perfect resume can be a challenge. Don't miss Ready for Work.
She was a successful financial analyst.
She's brilliant, as far as I'm concerned.
He was a prominent New York City attorney.
They seem like a lovely couple.
From a distance, Angela Bledsoe and James Ray seemed like the perfect match.
Living the high life, going to country clubs.
But behind the scenes, the relationship was stormy. Were you worried that he might hurt her?
Yes.
And the biggest storm of all.
You never ever would believe something like this would happen right next door to you.
Would soon be felt.
Suspect is on the run following a murder in Montclair.
But was it murder?
It was just like cold-blooded.
Or self-defense?
James Ray had a right to protect himself.
Ultimately, this is a story about jealousy and obsession, which turned deadly.
Police, Inspector Ritchie.
On October 22nd, 2018, Robert Ray called Montclair Police.
Something horrible, I think, has happened at my brother's house.
He's worried that his brother did something terrible.
What happened? Sounds like there may be a murder victim there.
When police check the house out, they find really a nightmarish scene. Angela Bledsoe is dead. James Ray is nowhere to be found, and neither is the couple's young daughter. Do you remember getting the news?
I remember exactly that day. He said, Angela is dead. Oh, boy. I think I yelled out and nothing came out. Nothing came out.
So who was Angela Bledsoe? And how did a life filled with so much promise come to such a tragic and violent end? To understand who Angela Bledsoe was, it helps to go back to the very beginning.
She did not give us an ounce of a problem.
Angela Michelle Bledsoe was born in Prince George's County, Maryland.
Looking at her, she seemed very, very happy.
She was the youngest daughter of Ray and Gaynell Bledsoe.
In school, she got basically all A's and B's.
well-liked, popular.
And if there was one quality that set her apart, even as a young child, it was her independence.
She was the only daughter that would challenge me. And I appreciate it because I had to take a look at myself. And I said to myself, maybe she's right.
Was there ever any doubt in your mind that she was going to be successful?
No, there was no doubt.
After Angela graduates from high school, she goes to Florida A&M University to study business.
When Angela graduated, she had 11 job offers from various financial institutions. I mean, she was high in demand.
She gets a job as a financial planner, and she becomes very successful in that field. At a relatively young age, she's able to buy a brownstone in Brooklyn.
And we were very, very proud of her. A very independent person.
And that's when she meets James Ray.
Former Marine, former NYPD cop, and had become a successful attorney living in Montclair. Great resume, right?
They were both very successful. They could afford the best of everything. And they have a daughter. So from a distance, this was the kind of couple other couples might envy.
The first time that I met him, they were dancing together. And when I looked, I was like, oh, they look like a really nice couple. They were cute, they were happy. He swung her around and, you know, they were just having a good time.
Up close, it didn't look so nice.
But as time went on, and we began to hear things.
He would ask her all the time, you know, who, what, where, when, why. You know, where are you going? Who are you going to be with?
My sister and I discussed the fact that we felt that he had cameras in the house, but we couldn't prove it. But it was proven later.
He was online looking for ways to break into her phone, ways to get spy camera video into the house.
Did you ever talk to her about your concerns?
Andrew really didn't like family interfering in her relationships.
Angela's parents were in a really tough spot. They were concerned, but at the same time, this is the guy their daughter has chosen to be with.
When you bring up issues of that nature, you can drive a person away. That we did not want to do.
But Angela's text messages kept indicating the relationship was getting worse.
He was also at times sending her Bible texts and Bible verses to say, this is how a woman treats her husband. You are not doing this, more or less fall in line to, you know, obey me.
When you think back to what we heard about Angela as a child, that this was the girl, even at 8 or 9 years old, who was able to make her case to her father and get him to change his mind. It would be insulting to anyone to receive those Bible verses. I can't imagine how insulting it must have been to Angela. One morning, Angela wakes up and James is sitting on the edge of her bed, just glaring at her.
When she woke up and he was watching her, I had chills, and that's when I just, you know, in large caps, get out, because I didn't feel that she was safe.
And for the first time, Angela says, I'm gonna get out.
It was clear that Angela had made plans to move on from the relationship.
She wanted out.
She wanted out.
And he didn't want her to leave.
He did not want her to leave, and in particular, he did not want her to leave and take their minor child with her.
Ideally, she wanted to relocate to Florida, but because of the Jersey laws, you cannot take a child without the permission of the other parent.
At 11 o'clock that morning, she was supposed to have an appointment with a realtor to look for a place for her and their daughter. It never happens. She doesn't make that meeting.
Angela was a woman who wanted to get out and move on with a new life. That was the goal, and he didn't want to let her do it.
The meeting at the steakhouse in Piscataway is unsettling, to say the least. At one point, Robert asks James what's going on, and James says, everyone will know in 24 hours.
He packed a suitcase, 2 suitcases for his daughter.
James just says, take care of our daughter. And he hands his daughter over to Robert, who didn't really know her very well.
So he handed off his daughter and walked away into the evening without anything said.
The note is a confession. James Ray admits he has shot and killed Angela. Now, James says it was self-defense.
He said, listen, she was pointing a gun at me during an argument. She had it, she wanted to get out, and she was so mad at me that she picked up a gun and pointed it at me. And he said, I had no other alternative but to shoot her.
The prosecution says the evidence at the crime scene does not bear that out at all.
Ms. Bledsoe had just been shot. She was bleeding profusely. None of that blood managed to get on the handgun.
So you had a gun in a puddle of blood? There was no blood on the gun. You had a bloody cell phone on top of a stool. There was no blood on the stool.
This can't happen naturally. There is no way the gun and the cell phone wind up where they are, looking the way they are, naturally. This only happens if somebody has planted those items in particular places. James Ray's scenario is he was in the living room cleaning his guns. Angela grabbed a gun and pointed it at him. And fearing for his life, he fired, and he says he just kept firing. The scenario that prosecutors put together based on the evidence is very different.
She was likely on her hands and knees, on all fours, crawling away.
But they say the only gun present at the time is in James Ray's hand. And that he shoots Angela Bledsoe first in the chest, and then as she tries to crawl away, he shoots her again in the back. And then finally, the last shot is to her face as she's lying on her back on the kitchen floor.
The wound path and trajectory of that gunshot was a steeply downward gunshot, indicating that Mr. Ray was standing over her when he shot her that final time.
None of that sounds like self-defense.
Not to me.
And then you have Ray's own behavior.
He did not behave in a way that someone acting in self-defense would behave. He shot the mother of his child, and he failed to render aid. He didn't call 911. He printed out his last will and testament, and he arranged for his brother to meet him.
Prosecutors decide this cannot be self-defense. It can only be murder. But prosecutors can't arrest James Ray for murder just yet, because after leaving that steakhouse in Piscataway, Ray disappeared.
Coming up, an international manhunt.
He ran, and he ran as far as he could.
As a family searches for answers.
Why? Why do you have to do that?
When Crime Files continues.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Good morning, everybody. Get ready
for the best hyper-local news streaming 24/7.
The whole world is watching. This is the scary part of this type of storm.
And we'll continue to follow this story for you.
Nobody has what we have.
Hello, I'm estate planning attorney Michael Ettinger of Ettinger Law Firm. For over 30 years, we've seen the devastating effects on families that didn't plan for death or disability. To protect yourself and your family, please join me at ettingerplan.com for our free seminar, 4 Advantages of Using Trusts. At ettingerplan.com, you can also schedule a free consultation with one of our experienced estate planning attorneys or read some of our many articles on estate planning and elder law. That's ettingerplan.com.
Ford SUVs have the cargo space, connectivity, and capability to make the everyday anything but routine. Right now, returning lessees can get the built Wild Bronco Sport for $289 a month, only at your local Ford stores.
The Masked Singer kicked off with an incredible reveal.
I am so starstruck right now.
And there's still so much in store.
We've never seen that.
The Masked Singer, all new Wednesdays on Fox and watch anytime on Hulu. Tomorrow on FS1, the ALCS continues. The Astros look to fight their way back, while the Rangers aim to take a commanding series lead. Game 3, tomorrow on FS1.
This place is a death trap. Shut it down. I came here to help you, but now we're starting to lose control. What is that? Are you willing to change?
Kitchen Nightmares, all new Mondays on Fox and watch anytime on Hulu.
Jared Goff leads the Lions against Lamar Jackson and the Ravens.
What a play!
Or Kenny Pickett and the Steelers battle Matthew Stafford and the Rams.
Touchdown!
Sunday on Fox. Check for the game in your area. Get updates every half hour on where, when, and how hard storms will hit your neighborhood. News 12 New York. Everything you love about News 12. Available 24/7 on your favorite streaming service. Stream News 12 New York to get the latest local headlines and top stories from across New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Plus, stay ahead of severe weather with alerts from our Tri-State Storm Watch team. Get updates every half hour on where, when, and how hard storms will hit your neighborhood. News 12 New York. Everything you love about News 12. Available 24/7 on your favorite streaming service. Crime Files continues with Deadly Obsession.
It's October 2018, and the storybook romance between Angela Bledsoe and James Ray,
They looked like they were happy.
has come to a violent end.
Angela was a woman who wanted to get out and move on with a new life, and he didn't want to let her do it.
Now, Angela is dead, shot to death inside their home, and James Ray is nowhere to be found.
Seeking and getting justice took a long time.
Nothing that James Ray does after this shooting is what you would expect an innocent man to do. Right off the bat, he doesn't call 911. And then on top of it, he goes on the run. Prosecutors discover Ray's car in a parking garage at Newark Airport. But investigators quickly realize he did not get on board a plane. Instead, they say he took a taxi to Philadelphia, then hitchhiked to Ohio, Tennessee, and Texas, where he crossed the border into Mexico and then boarded a plane for Cuba.
He ran, and he ran as far as he could to a place where he thought might be friendly, where he would never be extradited.
And of all places, you picked Cuba. Yeah, he thought this out.
But in Havana, Ray's desperate attempt to escape justice would come to an end.
Ultimately, we were able to track down and arrest James Ray and hold him accountable.
It is a very strange document, to say the least.
First night in Havana. With little money available, Jack had to adopt a survivor's mentality.
At times, he's talking about what he's doing in his life on the run, but he's also using pseudonyms. He refers to himself as Jack. But the one thing that he really hammers home is a very detailed description of how he says he shot and killed Angela.
I quickly picked up one of the weapons on the table and then fired in Angela's direction. I honestly believed that there was no other choice, that she would have shot first.
So that, years later, is going to be what we see and hear at trial. He's now locked into that defense.
This is a case of self-defense. Nothing more, nothing less.
This was not a man acting in self-defense, but rather a man with murder on his mind.
On one hand, the prosecution's case is very strong. They have a lot of forensic evidence, but there's one key thing that's missing.
No eyewitnesses. That's a fact.
It was just his word against hers, and unfortunately, she can't take the stand in her own defense.
So how do prosecutors work around that? And the answer is they really lean heavy into the science.
While Angela Bledsoe wasn't here to speak for herself, she certainly left behind a trail of evidence.
One of the biggest parts of this case was just looking at the photos for the jury of the crime scene. And it became very obvious that this was a staged crime scene.
There was a gun found by Angela sitting on a pool of blood, but there was no blood on the gun. Angela's cell phone had blood on it, but it was sitting on a stool that was completely clean.
So he manipulated that crime scene and he staged that crime scene, and it became very evident very quickly. Is he providing you any answers at all?
No.
Robert Ray is a very effective witness. First and foremost, because he clearly doesn't want to be there. He doesn't want to be testifying against his brother, but he has no choice. Robert tells the jury how his brother wanted to meet at this restaurant just a few hours after Angela was killed.
I continued to ask what was wrong.
And he says James never told him what was going on.
At some point he said that you'll know something like everything in 24 hours.
Instead, Robert says James asked him to take care of he and Angela's daughter, then posed for one last photo with her, and then snuck off into the night.
In order to take the picture, she got out of the booth and he held her, and then as she sat back in the booth, he slowly backed away and backed up and left the restaurant.
Angela was an opportunist, one who used people, and most notable, successful men who could provide her a certain freedom and lifestyle that she could not achieve herself.
But it must have bothered you the way the defense talked about your daughter.
It did. It's just lies. I think it was a show for the defense attorney.
You have to wonder, that bold and brash kind of presentation, does that put people off? Because you're dealing with the death of a person, and you have her parents sitting right there in front of you.
The truth is, Angela was having an affair for at least 9 months.
The defense makes a huge deal of the fact that Angela had an affair.
They were trying to portray Angela in a way that would give her a motive to want to hurt him.
But is that what the jury is hearing? Because at times it seems like the defense is coming very close, dangerously close, to arguing that Angela Bledsoe was a bad person and deserved to be killed. That's not something that's going to play well with a jury. Were you surprised by that?
I was surprised. I was surprised because Mr. Ray was an arrogant man, so I would have thought that he would have, taken a chance and testified, but it's his right not to.
Should he have taken a stand? Looking back at the evidence now, I can understand why he didn't. They had the forensics analyst saying this was a staged scene, this is the man who ran, and he would have to answer for that.
You've had 6 weeks of trial, and then the jury is back in under 3 hours.
Initially, they came back with a question that concerned me. And so I told my husband I'm going into the room to pray. From the time that I was on my knees praying and when I went back to my phone, they said he was guilty.
How do you find on the charge of murder?
We find the defendant guilty of murder.
I was just grateful and just elated that they saw the light.
The jury got it right. They got it right. He was a murderer, a liar. I felt relieved, but the hurt was still there.
Coming up, the story takes an unexpected twist.
Just when you think it's over with a guilty verdict, it's not.
When Crime Files continues.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Good morning, everybody. Get ready
for the best hyper-local news streaming 24/7.
The whole world is watching. This is the scary part of this type of storm.
And we'll continue to follow this story for you.
Nobody has what we have.
All this month, News 12 New York is raising awareness for the battle against breast cancer. We'll share inspiring survivor stories, updates on available screening methods, and the latest developments in the search for a cure all month long on News 12 New York.
Ford SUVs have the cargo space, connectivity, and capability to make the everyday anything but routine. Right now, returning lessees can get the built Wild Bronco Sport for $289 a month, only at your local Ford stores.
7th-ranked Penn State faces 3rd-ranked Ohio State on Big Noon Saturday. Then 8th-ranked Texas battles Houston, and Utah takes on USC.
Are you kidding me?
It all kicks off Saturday at noon Eastern on Fox.
Team jackets. Oh, nice. These are sick.
Ooh, nice. Love it.
Wait, why does mine say little baby KK?
Because that's your nickname. I'm Ace. Tom's Rhino.
I'm Rhino.
Gregonator.
I'm not gonna be a little baby KK.
You can't argue with the jacket, little baby KK. What's gotten into him?
Classic little baby KK.
The
finely crafted Volkswagen Taos. It's built just right.
Get 4.9% APR financing for 60 months on a new 2024 Taos SE or lease one for $329 a month. Limited inventory available.
Tomorrow on FS1. The ALCS continues. Jose Altuve and the Astros look to fight their way back into the series, while the Rangers aim to take a commanding lead. The ALCS Game 3, tomorrow on FS1.
Turn right onto Western Avenue.
ID Light in the all-electric ID4. Lease the 2023 all-electric ID4 Pro S for $379 a month after an EV lease bonus and customer bonus. Limited inventory available.
New Jersey and Connecticut. Plus, stay ahead of severe weather with alerts from our Tri-State Storm Watch team. Get updates every half hour on where, when, and how hard storms will hit your neighborhood. News 12 New York. Everything you love about News 12. Available 24/7 on your favorite streaming service. Crime Files continues with Deadly Obsession.
A shocking update. James Ray is dead. We're told he was found unconscious in the Essex County Jail
4 days before he was going to be sentenced, possibly to life in prison. We get a call that James Ray is dead.
It appears that he took his own life. And it appears that he committed suicide on Father's Day.
We see it's no coincidence. He's leaving everybody at a very calculated time.
To Angela's family, this is one final example of the way James Ray wanted to control people.
Every Father's Day, they have to remember what you did. So it was controlled down to that date of death. I think in all ways, everything he wanted to control till the end.
When he took his own life, was that justice or was he escaping justice?
He was a coward in escaping justice.
Maybe, yeah, some justice, but that's a soul that's gone too. And that was sad too to me.
Someone asked me about forgiveness, and I informed them forgiveness is something that takes time. And I am not at that point of forgiving at this point in time.
My niece, she's a very smart young lady. She has done very well. She's talking about Harvard and Yale. And I told her, if that's where you want to go, we'll make it happen. She's going to do wonderful things. And I told her, I said, you've had a lot to happen, but you're not alone. We are here for you. God has given me an assignment, and you are my assignment, and I'm going to fulfill what he has me here to do for you.
Lisa also set up a scholarship fund in her sister's memory at Florida A&M. Alana was there when the scholarship was first announced, and she frequently makes appearances. The Bledsoes hope this is also a way to help Alana stay connected with her mom while achieving one of Angela's goals, helping less privileged students.
And then I did an endowment, and she was going to do an endowment. We talked about that, we planned. So when she died, I was like, you know what, I'm going to fulfill what we talked about. And within a year, we had it fully funded. Our goal was $100,000. We raised $130,000, and we're not finished.
How important is it to you guys that even after her death, Angela is helping other young people?
Very important, because that was her life. That was what she loved doing, and she loved the school.
Florida A&M has an eternal flame on the campus, and the school put a plaque dedicated to Angela at that flame. Generations of students now will go to the school. Some will receive the Angela Bledsoe Scholarship, and they will find out who she was.
Because I don't want people to remember how she died. I want them to remember how she lived and what she did and what she stood for.
Are you ready? Are you ready? Good morning, everybody. Get ready
for the best hyperlocal news streaming 24/7.
The whole world is watching. This is the scary part of this type of storm.
And we'll continue to follow the story for you.
Nobody has what we have.
Ford SUVs have the cargo space, connectivity, and capability to make the everyday anything but routine. Right now, returning lessees can get the built Wild Bronco Sport for $289 a month, only at your local Ford stores.
The Masked Singer kicked off with an incredible reveal.
I am so starstruck right now.
And there's still so much in store.
We've never seen that.
The Masked Singer, all new Wednesdays on Fox and watch anytime on Hulu.
Stop!
Get on the ground!
They're back.
You are going to jail today?
With all new episodes. Crazier twists.
Undeniable.
Hey, it's on video. Plots that defy reasoning.
I understand that my pants are down, that's weird.
And the best acting you've ever seen.
And this was how many grams?
Cops. All new episodes every Friday. Only on Fox Nation.
No matter what, I go to jail.
Why is that?
Because I'm a criminal, man.
Hello, I'm Michael Ettinger from Ettinger Law Firm, here to tell you that estate planning is for everyone. We all need a plan for accident, illness, or death. Planning can make the difference between keeping your home and life savings or losing thousands to taxes, court costs, and long-term care expenses. Please visit us at ettingerplan.com to learn more and to schedule your free consultation.
Stream News 12 New York to get the latest local headlines and top stories from across New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. Plus, stay ahead of severe weather with alerts from our Tri-State Storm Watch team. Get updates every half hour on where, when, and how hard storms will hit your neighborhood. News 12 New York. Everything you love about News 12. Available 24/7 on your favorite streaming service.